Welcome to FEO on the Air, the voice of the festivals and events industry in Ontario. This week, it's FEO Supplier Spotlight with your host, Debbie Mann.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Debbie Mann, and I'm with Festivals and Events Ontario. And you have joined us on FEO on the Air Supplier Spotlight. Thanks for everyone for joining us. I'd like to introduce our guest today, Stefania Szabo from Continest Canada. Stefania is a member of Festivals and Events Ontario, has been to a couple of our conferences, and I'm very excited that she's here to share her product and services with the industry. So welcome, Stefania.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So before we get into your presentation, why don't you tell us a little bit about how Continest came into your life? Because you said it was your love affair. So how did it come into your life?
Well, it was, by accident, honestly. I'm a former diplomat. I'm a former Hungarian diplomat. I was posted in Toronto as Consul General of Hungary. I have two children. They were 6 and 8 when we came to Toronto in Canada. During the 5 years that I've spent here as a diplomat, they became very Canadian, and they couldn't imagine their life outside of Canada. So weighing my career and my children, I decided to quit my career, which I loved very much, but I love my children more. So we stayed in Canada. And I was actually looking for a job. I started to work for a small startup at that time when the CEO of Continest Technologies, the mothership, which is based in Hungary, reached out to me on LinkedIn, that he saw my profile and he felt that I might be a good fit to represent Continest in Canada, if I was open to a communication about that, which I was at the time. So we started to communicate, and the next time when I was in Hungary, which was a couple of months later, I visited the factory, and up until that point, I only communicated with the CEO, who, as I said, never met before, other than virtually. So I was walking towards him, and there was another gentleman beside him, who I also never met before. We introduced ourselves, and the gentleman said a very unique Hungarian name, and I'm like, do you happen to have a brother named Mishi? I said, yeah. So it turned out that he was from the same small town I was also from.
Oh, wow.
And I was friends with his brother when I was a child. So the world is really small. It's a cliche, but we ended up being from the small little community that we shared in our childhood. We just never met at that time. And I started to work with Continest. We immediately entered, and I'm going to cover that in my presentation, the Pop-Up City Contest in Canada. And I just love working with them. And my career, actually, as you said, I'm a lawyer. I'm a vice president of Pace Law Firm. And that's where I'm sitting at the moment. But I'm dealing with Continest for 6 years now.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. What a great story. And it's, serendipitous, right? That you knew somebody.
Not only a great story, but it's actually true. Yeah. And
well,
so,
okay,
message to everyone, update your LinkedIn profiles, an opportunity might fall on your lap.
Exactly. So tell us about Continest. Since I've met you, I've been really curious about your product. So
it's really the two of us that we are a perfect match, because Continest was born from the festivals and events industry. This is a Dutch technology. A Dutch engineer came up with the idea of folding the containers, as he was seeing containers being transported to festivals near his hometown in the Netherlands. And they were basically transporting air to location. And he was like, how about we collapse these units, stack a few on top of each other, and save a lot on transportation costs. Because he also found out that the largest cost margin is from the transportation costs of those units to locations. And as you know, as everyone who is in this industry knows, you need a lot of additional infrastructure for your event. And these containers, which, you know, I don't like to say containers because then you have a shipping container in mind, but this temporary infrastructure really can serve you. And I can show you down the road the different applications we already have used these units for, and the different units that we have developed over the last years. So we, as I said, we originally are from the Netherlands, but the owners of Continest Technologies have bought the IP about 7-8 years ago, maybe more, and started production in 2019 back in Hungary. So it's a relatively new company, but spreading rapidly around the world. You can see that you, on the right side of the presentation, that you need basically a forklift to fold or open up the unit, and 2 people can do it in 3-5 minutes. I did it here in Caledon, but I will also talk about later on. So it is doable, and then you can just stack them. I don't know if you see that where you are, but I'm in Etobicoke near Mississauga, and there are so many container depots around this industrial area that, you know, mountains of empty shipping containers on top of each other. Can you imagine if they could fold and then just stack on top of each other instead of using that much space? But the containers are environmentally friendly because of the low emissions and 80% reduction in transportation costs. These units are insulated, even for Canadian weather. The R value is not very high, but you only need a space heater to heat the units up, and it's very comfortable. These are the 2 standard units that we manufacture, already built in all the electricity. There are 4 LED lights, and as I said, the walls are insulated. So when you open the units up, you know, fix the walls, they are plug and play. You just need a power source, and these units are North American standards, so you can use them in the United States and Canada. Standards are a little bit more strict in Canada, so we are following those guidelines. So whichever units are going to North America are following Canadian standards. And the 20x8 is a standard shipping container size, and they can be easily transported by land, sea, or air. Air transportation, we have only done once, to the best of my knowledge, when we responded to a request from Maui, Hawaii. I'm going to elaborate more on that a little bit later on in my presentation. The usual transportation is on a flat track on the lorry, where you can transport, as you can see, 20 CN10 units and 10 CN20 units.
So just on one truck, you could get like a whole festival set up just by just one truck delivery.
Depending on the size of the festival, but basically, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And especially
if they were all using your product, I mean it.
If it's in a remote location, it's a huge saving. I think you can agree with that. Let me just show you how
that unit has electricity and lighting and everything?
It's in it, yeah. So I stopped here because you could have, you see, this is the trick. This is the hinge system that is unique. That's our intellectual property. You need that tool. You need the wrench, basically, and the small ladder if you are not over 6'5", I would say. Then you reach the top of the container and you don't need ladder. I do. I'm only 5'11", so. But over 6, you're pretty welcome. Yeah, I just removed the sound. You fold down the wall on both ends. Make sure the key is inside the door so you don't lock yourself in. And the hinge system is sound better. For a sec, I could see on one of the pictures that I wanted to show you that the lights are already in. Here on top, you see the light is already in the middle of the unit. And you basically fold this section down and there's the extra electricity in that you can plug into.
Wow.
It really is easy. And we have different business lines. As I said, we really grew from the festivals and events industry, and that's still our main focus. But you might recall in 2020, we all were facing huge challenges with COVID. Basically, the industry went dormant.
Yeah.
I don't want to use a harsher word to that. So Continest had to pivot as well. And that's when our military applications started to be developed. And we are now suppliers to NATO. We have procurement numbers, so any NATO country can easily procure our products through a central NATO procurement system. Don't need to contact us, they can do it directly. On the standard product sales line where you see mobile offices, that's actually the Continest home office back in Hungary. This is where they are working from. So they don't just preach the wine, they drink the wine. And the custom products, when we need to react to certain challenges, maybe natural disasters or unfortunately war situations, these transitional houses can be built from these units. Either walls can be removed, the long walls and the short walls as well. So basically unlimited space can be created from these units. These are actual photos of accommodations. And the lower one is, the rental business that Continest started to do this year, actually. And we have humanitarian and crisis management solutions. The training infrastructure is actually, we have a military shooting range that we developed. It's bulletproof, soundproof. It can be deployed anywhere easily. And there are some professions that require constant shooting training. And like even in Canada, the CBSE officers to carry guns now, and they need trainings, but they don't have shooting range facilities where they are deployed. So this could be an easy solution to address that need. We also provided units during COVID to supply isolating areas for senior homes or for hospitals.
Okay, yeah.
In the UK and in Uganda as well. We attended multiple sport events around the world. These are just a few photos of our units in different locations. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later.
So do you do, so I see the logos and stuff like that on that other slide. Do you put them on, or like do you work with
Our
the,
clients let us know what they want. They usually print themselves.
okay,
They know the size. But if they want us to do it, then we do it. In these particular cases, we were working with Fanatics, who is a large sport events organizer, and they did their branding.
right.
The middle one is the Paris Olympics. The first one was Euro 2024, a French shop, and one was Formula E. These were specific sport events where we supplied units, and as you can see, these can be individual units or larger ones for race control or additional meeting areas for those races.
So you can customize them to like have the sides open so that it's a bigger
yeah.
unit. Oh, wow.
You let us know beforehand, and we design our units accordingly, because we need these covers, like these gaskets, the gaskets for extra insulation. If we open the units and connect them, there needs to be an extra insulation all around to prevent leakage, to prevent draft, whatever. So
Can they be porta potties?
we have a unit called Wet Cell that we designed. I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, if it's in there, you'll get to it, right?
It's coming up.
Okay.
I like your thinking, Debbie. These are all events we already serviced in the last couple of years. As I said, music festivals. And I put an extra slide here to show you our retail unit, which I think best serves the festivals and events community. You can open the front up and you can sell merchandise, you can sell beverage, tickets, whatever you want from there. And it would protected. You lock it.
I could see. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I could see how that would be more secure as well for the vendor, right?
Of course, you can. You lock the door, you lock the walls. It's, I would say, 1 minute, and it's you leave everything inside for the night or for the day. Depends on what kind of festival we are talking about. These were actual deployments we did in Ukraine, in Sweden, and the middle top one, and the far right, I think, was in Miami, but I'm not so sure. But the middle bottom one was in Monaco for a Formula E race. And that's why I don't like to use container as a word. It's the infrastructure, because you really can customize and make it look more appealing, and it can be used as a temporary office or housing solution as well. And we are all weather proof, and so this comes up in Canada a lot. And we have a pretty solid snow load, 40 centimeters of heavy snow and 250 centimeters of fresh snow. Obviously, you need to clean it after a while. We can also provide additional roofing if that's required. I will show it to you a little bit later. So a few projects that Continest Technologies did. This is not what Continest Canada did, but these are our infrastructures. And this was our very first project back in 2019 that Continest Canada did in a very short period of time. They had to deploy 122 units in northern Sweden. And it was a really quick setup and tear down. Less than a week, with 5 people, they set up these 122 units, and it took them 56 hours to close them and take them away. This is another project that we did in Vermont, in Killington. Basically, they used the units for waxing stations. They need to wax the skis. And as I said, they used a small space heater and they did it, in one shirt. I think here they didn't even use the space heater. This is another application that we did this year. And you can see we use this as ticket offices as well as waxing stations. This was a Formula E race last year in Portland. I was there and I talked to the clients and they were super, super happy how easy it was to set up, how well it served them in different sizes, smaller units as individual offices and race control. And you can see in the top right corner, we can individualize. They wanted this blue cover. So these stickers went on and then easily we could remove it. And they didn't want the Continest logo to be seen, so we blacked that out, which is also doable. Another big event we did was a soccer European Championship, 10 different locations, and they used it for merchandise sale. The Olympic Games, which I also was so happy to see the units serving the fans and selling all the merchandise. In the middle bottom photo, you can see those t-shirts hanging there from the wall. Those are pre-built slack walls. So when you open up the unit, you don't need to add any additional hangers. You just, use your shelves and use a hanger to hang these on.
So those are pre-built.
Those are included
units.
in the unit.
Wow.
Very, very easy. As I said, sometimes life takes you to places where you didn't think you would go, and the war in Ukraine was, clearly a call to Continest to respond to, and we provided plenty of temporary housing infrastructure to some displaced people who had to move from areas where the war was raging. And we also built a kindergarten in Ukraine. So that was included here. This was a very proud project. We worked with the World Health Organization to provide a temporary medical infrastructure, a small hospital in Uganda. And they already moved this hospital twice from locations. So that's the purpose. Our niche is temporary. Like whenever you need to move the units, we are your guys or girls to go to. Because if you need something permanent, you probably want to use fixed frame containers. But if you need to move them, our solution makes it easier and much cheaper and more sustainable to do. When the wildfires were raging in August of 2024 in Maui, we got a call, and within 9 days of receiving the call, the first shipment of our units arrived to Maui,
Wow.
which is a distance from Hungary, I can tell. It was a great cooperation between industry, government, NATO, and the local partner. It's very important to have a local partner that you can work with. And in this case, it was the Family Life Center who saw our units. They wanted to work with us. And It's an ongoing project. We are still supplying units to Maui. This is where they are at the moment.
This is fascinating.
As you can see, it's 100% off-grid power. So solar panels are attached to the units, and there seems to be plenty of sun in Maui. I've never been, but I included this slide about a military contract we did in Bosnia and Herzegovina for the Dutch military, because you can see our units are stackable. You can see our units can be elevated. We only need level surface for our units to be deployed, but we can elevate them, and they want it to be elevated, and we can also add roof infrastructure to these units. We can customize them. You see, these are different colors. These are the colors they wanted to use. So whatever the client needs for their branding or practical reasons, we can come up with a solution. We have a very strong engineering team back in Hungary who are at our disposal from Canada as well.
So it's pretty flexible. Like, it's just, there's not really much that you can't do and help, right? Whether it's fun like festivals or humanitarian needs, you cover the gamut.
Yep.
And I love the fact that it's like within a week you can have it all set up. Or less.
It depends on, the size of the project. I mean, the 122 units on the side of a hill in -20 in heavy snow, it's 1 week. But
that's just a normal day here in Canada, right?
Yeah, I think it's coming up actually for this weekend as well.
Yes,
it was a pretty quick setup in Bosnia as well. As you can see, in the middle one, the regular colored container arrived, and then we just spray painted it. We also have sanitary spray solutions that we can spray the units inside, and they keep germ bacteria free for a year. We can add additional insulation spray on the outside, which elevates the R value of the units a little bit. These are some of our large customers that the Hungarian mothership was working with over the last couple of years. And what did we do in Canada? How did we end up here, and why is it so important for Continest to be present in Canada? So this was our very first project, started 6 years ago, and it was supposed to be over by summer of 2021, but as you know, COVID put everything on hold. The Canadian Armed Forces launched a project, an ideas contest called Pop-Up City, to find or come up with green solutions for the temporary deployment of troops. And I included this Zoom call photo on this slide because for 4 years, this is how we saw each other. The team only met through Zoom at that time. And we had to find partners in the water and waste management domains. We were coming from the energy domain, providing energy efficient solutions for the deployment of the troops, but other companies needed to come up with water filtration, gray water, black water, cleaning solutions, and our partners at InnoCorps, a Saskatchewan-based company, provided that solution. They were heading our consortium, and EcoGrowth from Calgary, Alberta, were our partners in providing waste management solutions for the troops. And after 3 rounds of contest and a lot of delays. The final was held in August of 2023 in Suffield, near Medicine Hat, where we had to actually build a temporary camp, and the Canadian Armed Forces were testing it for 1 week, how it performs. In wind, I can tell you I've never been in more windy place than Suffield. There's nothing around that, just the plains, and so it's a lot of wind. Our results were the best.
I lived in Alberta for a while, so I know.
I mean, we had quite, significant competitors, like SNC was having one, Adco was in another team. So, large names were in this contest. We were just small startups, but our results were the best. And I was, very happy when we were selected to be the winners of
Congratulations.
our consortium's name was Circular City. And this is our team in the bottom right corner. And you can see the military personnel in our containers discussing what they see and how happy they are with these solutions. So this was our humble but very successful start in Canada. That started 6 years ago and came to fruition in August of 2023.
So would they have purchased these units or rented them?
So they purchased it. Well, it was part of this project. This wasn't a procurement.
Okay.
This was a contest that we had to present different options for the military to consider. And the procurement side is coming up now, hopefully. And then it's a purchase, yeah.
So there's an option for anybody to do both, right? To rent or to purchase.
Correct.
Okay.
We attended CANSAC in the last couple of years, the biggest military and security conference in Canada. We have multiple contacts that we are working with in the military. Natural Resources Canada, both these two units that you see on the left side of the screen. In the middle one, that was the tent they were using. That's their deployment tent, which is the solution to this day to the Canadian military when they are deployed. I've been inside this tent. It's constant noise. The wind is blowing the tent, and because it's heavily insulated, the different layers constantly providing to me a very disturbing background noise, but also it's not very stable. The infrastructure is not very stable. So instead of the tent in the middle, you can see on the left side the containers are set up, and they are testing it for 1.5 years now. And they are very happy with the results. When they set it up, they immediately emailed me, that's Stefania, amazing. We set it up in like half an hour, and it takes 2 days for the tents to be set up. So, it's a huge difference, and it's very easy and very convenient for them. They are ready to send these units to Resolute Bay, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the Arctic to do proper Arctic testing.
Wow.
Units. So hopefully we will have some offshore results from those tests from a government agency in Canada very soon. They're very, very happy with what they see. We did a few demo days in Hungary. This one was in 2024. You can see the Minister of Transportation of Ontario is in the middle of our photo on the left-hand side. They also like the idea of the easy deployment of these containers whenever there's a construction going on, for example, in the north. There's a large project to build a new hospital in Northern Ontario, and you can only fly in whatever you need there. There are no roads leading there, so whatever infrastructure needs to be built, it needs to be flown in. to that area. So we are working with a construction company to provide temporary infrastructure, sleeping units for the construction workers, or offices for the engineers who are working there.
Wow.
And
Oh, I was just going to ask, didn't you work with Caledon Day? Yes.
yes, we were in Caledon. We met with Jessica, the events coordinator for Caledon Day, at for your conference in February in Kitchener. Yes, and she loved the idea of having this unit, and she approached us to be deployed for that weekend, and she was very happy, or they were very happy with the units. And to my surprise, which I didn't expect actually, that people were coming to their info station because of the container.
Okay.
Because it's like, okay, we haven't seen this before. What's here and how it's going? So it was the container itself was a magnet for festival attendees to require more information about Caledon Days, and it was an easy and happy project for us. The first when we provided retail unit in Ontario.
So they got one unit, right? Was it just one unit?
They needed one unit. Yeah.
Okay. But it was a great testing ground, right, for what they wanted?
It was, yeah, and this is what we need. We need a level surface, we need a little bit of space so our forklift can move the unit around. So we installed it on Thursday before all the other infrastructure was built around it. And the event was on Saturday, and we rolled it down and took it away on Monday.
Wow.
And they added these additional stickers on the unit. And then when we deployed, then they were already gone. So.
And so, okay, FIFA.
Our next big project coming up. We are going to supply concessions units, infrastructure to the FIFA World Cup in Toronto. As you know, 6 games are going to be played in Toronto, and 10 units will be placed in the north end of the stadium and 10 in the south end. The south end is a temporary scaffolding infrastructure that they are building now, but they're also building additional seating in the north end where we need to navigate between columns and tight spaces. So we were on a site visit a couple of weeks ago, and everything seems set for us to start building this infrastructure. We are going to need probably 3 days to build the units. A little bit more time than usual because 10 units are going to be on a 6.8 meter platform.
Okay.
So we need to elevate that with a crane and build them together. We love challenges.
So the innovation, I just love the fact that you can come up with an idea, the customer can come up with an idea and you can work with them to make sure that it happens, whether it's, tall and narrow or long and wide or multiple, small hotel accommodations. I don't know.
Yeah, all these are, just your imagination, whatever you may need, the solution can be provided. And we work with Arena, large events organizing group. And we have worked with Arena before. They are very happy with our solutions. So they were happy to select Continest again to provide these temporary concessions infrastructure.
So Stefania, what would the cost comparison be for your units versus and the advantages versus like tents, or like I'm talking about the festival industry, of course, but how would the price comparison be?
Well, it it depends on how often do you need it, right? So if, as I said, our units and our business's niche is the temporary use when you need to move the units from one place to another. Obviously, if you need it for a longer time, you just want to set up a fixed frame container that you can buy for, I don't know, 10 grand. Our units are way more expensive. Our CM20 units are $35,000.
To buy? $35,000 to purchase?
Yes, to buy.
Okay.
Yeah. Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
And but they are insulated, the electricity is in, they are plug and play, and if you need to move them, you save so much money on the transportation cost that if you move it 3 times a year, you get your money back in less than 3 years. And then everything above that is a net gain. We also think that they are much more appealing. They are much more reliable. The first containers were built 12 years ago, and they are still going strong. The same units. In the factory back in Hungary, there's one unit that they open 3 times a day and close 3 times a day or constantly, just to test how the container reacts to the use. You don't need to grease it. It's a dry installation. You only need, as I said, a wrench and maybe a small lever to set it up. And a float, obviously, or whatever additional structure. These are some of the awards that we were given over the last couple of years. FIS, the International Ski Federation, became a very regular client for these waxing stations. Also Formula E, in late January, the next race is going to be in Miami. So we will supply that event as well. And the first week of February, we will start setting up our units at BMO Field in Toronto. Very exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. And this is how people can reach you.
Exactly. Is there
So
something
take a
you
screenshot
wanted
of
to
this.
ask of me, Debbie, and I didn't cover in this presentation?
What was that? I didn't hear that. Sorry, Stefania.
Is there something you wanted to ask of me that wasn't
Well,
covered in this
I mean,
presentation?
I'm just thinking for the festival and event industry. So they can rent it, they don't have to buy it, right?
Correct.
And it can be, I'm just thinking of some of our festivals that are like street festivals, and they have tents set up right down the street. And well, and they're 8x10s, but you could share a unit, right, with somebody if you're a smaller vendor. Like if they wanted to set it up and it was a 3-day
100%.
event.
We had multiple conversations with different municipalities about exactly that, the street festivals they were having, or mobile library they wanted to set up. I don't want to name the municipality, but then Caledon was the brave one. Jessica was the brave one who was like, I really want to try. And you know what? We ended up being much cheaper solution that they used before.
Oh, really?
The previous,
Okay.
yeah, because the previous container they used, it came on a platform, so people actually needed to walk up to the unit. And this was on level surface, much easier to approach, right? More people, more interest was generated. So, you just need to be a little bit brave to try something else, something new, and then you may fall in love with it like I did, as I said, with Continest. I really love working with this company.
And I can see the value, like it can be sold as like each unit can be sponsored, right? I mean, there can be branding on it, there can be either whether it's if it's the festival or the city or a big sponsor, it can all be branded however they want it.
Yeah. We are talking to Honda Indy, which for the last couple of years was in Toronto, but now it's going to be 2026 in Markham.
Okay.
We are interested in renting units for their temporary infrastructure needs. So there are a lot of balls in the game at the moment, and we would love to be present and supply more of your industry members.
Well, I can even see like music festivals having like a space for, well, I know that the key, like if it was Brad Paisley or, Kiss or something, they'd have their own vehicle, but the support team would probably appreciate having something that they could go to and have some privacy and some, people not ogling at them all the time. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
our head of global operations, who is based in the United Kingdom, and he was seen on some of these photos with the FIFA project. He's coming from the music industry. He was touring with these large bands and building the stage, building the infrastructure they needed for the shows. So he knows exactly the benefits of these units, the ins and outs.
My mind is spinning, but I'm not a festival organizer. So I hope some, that people can see the value of this. And I don't have any questions. I don't see any questions. I think there was one. Are the units available for rental or just purchase? So you've answered that. They're both. Yeah, any last words? I just think this is a fascinating product, and
yeah, I think so too. I can't wait to see you all in person at the conference.
Yeah,
the FEO conference. So I'm hoping that we will get a little bit more traction and more interest, especially after the FIFA project, which is a pretty high level event.
Yes,
going to trust our solution to come up with what they are looking for. So I'm hoping that other festival organizers are going to believe that this is a unit that can provide a sustainable solution. Because, in Europe, whenever you organize a large event, sustainability is really high on their agenda. And I see that coming to Canada as well. So when you need to tick a box of sustainability, our units are the answers.
Well, looking forward to seeing you in Kitchener in February. And thank you so much for taking time and sharing your product with us on this podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And next week, I think we have one more session before we shut down for the season. And looking forward to seeing you next week. Take care. And again, Stefania, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
And we're done. That's great. Thank you so much again. And if you have any questions, you know where I am.
I do. Thank you so much. It's good to be reconnected, and can't wait to see you all. And we are hoping to be actually just background. I applied to be member of Women Business Enterprises.
You member of what?
There's an association called Women Business Enterprises.
Okay.
And because we are majority female owned, female run, my sales associates are female. So I hope, fingers crossed, in the next coming days that we will be a member of that.
Keep us posted on that.
And it would make me very proud, because this is not a business that you would associate with.
No.
But we can do it, girl, right?
Yes, we can. I agree, Stefania. And if you get it, let us know, and we'll let our members know.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to FEO on the Air, the voice of festivals and events in Ontario.